Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. It is the start of another school year, which means it is time to set some goals for the 2023-24 school year. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I did this last year as well. I will link that video up above. Those goals were more specific to being a classroom teacher. And if you have been following along, you know I have since moved into the library for this school year. So I have come up with some new goals to fit the new position. So I wrote them down. There are 6 of them, and we're just going to go through them. And after each quarter of the school year is complete, I am going to revisit these, let you know how they're going. I may make some adjustments because some of these might happen like fairly early on, and so I will need to set some new goals for myself. So that's how this is going to go. Right now I'm just going to go through them. I'll give a little bit of background on them, and then we will check in like 9 weeks, and I'll let you know how I'm doing. So the first goal that I have for myself is to learn everyone's name. This is difficult because I do see the entire student body from pre-K all the way to 2nd grade, and there are 5 each of kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd. There are 2 pre-Ks, so that's quite a lot of students to try to learn their names of. I believe there's like over 400 students in the whole building, so this could take some doing. I am typically very good with names, but when I only see them potentially once a week, that's a little bit harder. So I'm going to make use of seating charts, making the kids tell me their names when they check out their books, and hopefully I will be able to put a face to each name and get these learned fairly quickly. I managed it the last time I was in the library. I actually worked as an aide for several years and then was also the librarian for a year, and I did learn everyone's name. So I know I will be able to do it. It will just depend on how long it takes me. So right now I know every child's name in one class because I have that class every single day for recess on top of specials. So 1 class down, 16 more to go. All right, goal number 2 is going to be to plan at least 2 library events for the school year. One of them I know is going to be a book fair. I am most likely going to do that in the spring just to give myself a little bit of time to be able to get the space the way I want it to be and to figure things out. So that one will be one of the events, but I would like to do another one as well. So I'm kind of brainstorming some things, and I will give you an update once I've settled on what I'm hoping to do, but the goal is at least 2 events for the school year. Goal number 3 is like an organization goal, and that is to organize the library's STEM/STEAM area into a usable space. So the previous librarian kind of just had things thrown everywhere. Some of them were in a closet, some of them were on shelves, and it's a huge mess. It's a huge mess. So what I have been doing for my students for the first couple weeks of school is just using the materials that I had in my classroom last year as I try to go through the other things that are there, because there's some really cool things. She's got like robots, tablets to control the robots, all of that, and I want to figure out how to use it all, how to house it all, and that is going to be a big project because it's a mess. So my goal is to organize that area into something usable so that the students can actually make use of all the materials that are there. This one could potentially take a while, but I do have faith that we can get it done. Goal number 4 is to implement entertaining and interesting library lessons for all of the grade levels. So I have a little bit more flexibility in my teaching as the librarian because as of right now, Missouri as a state does not have library standards. They have librarian standards, but not actual library content standards. So I can really kind of do whatever I want in terms of the goals. My principal really wants me to kind of tie into the new ELA curriculum. We are going to sit down and kind of talk about that like once things are settled. And I typically have like an ELA goal for each of my lessons anyway, so that should be easy, but I do want to make sure I'm coming up with unique and interesting things that the kids possibly have not done before. There is in particular one second grade class that is by far the most difficult class that I have in the building. They're not terrible, so don't get me wrong, but they are very loud, very active. There are some fairly big behaviors in that room, lots of like emotional outbursts, a couple of kids who just really kind of melt down and have a hard time. So I want to make sure that that class in particular has things that entertain them and keep them interested, because I know that that will cut down on some of that kind of over-the-top behavior. So it'll be good for them, but it will also be good for the school as a whole. And hopefully I can really incorporate some STEM things into that as well. That's what the principal would love to see me do. So unique, entertaining, interesting lessons. I think I can do it. We'll see how it goes. This next goal is the same exact goal that I'd set for myself as a classroom teacher, because this is kind of like a district initiative. So the district is using what's called no nonsense nurturing, the 3N model, in terms of giving directions and helping with classroom management. So if you're not familiar, no nonsense nurturing has like a whole list of things you're supposed to do, but one of the biggest pieces is to give clear, concise directions. And they have like an acronym, they call it MVP. M is for movement, so how you want the students to move their bodies. V is for voice level. What voice level do you want them to have while they're doing it? And P is participation, i.e. what are they actually supposed to be doing? So when you give directions, you need to try to hit the MVP model, and it really does help cut down on confusion. It tells the kids precisely what they're supposed to be doing. There's not any of the kind of wandering around because they aren't sure what they're supposed to be doing. They're not necessarily having to like watch other classmates to get like a model, because while the students are moving and following the direction, you are giving positive narration in terms of what you see. So that also helps the students who maybe missed the direction another chance to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And from what I understand, the instructional coach at my new building is going to be coming in and like doing some observations and stuff on the 3N model. So I want to make sure that I am utilizing the MVP model, I guess, for my direction. So that's goal number 5. It was the same as last year, so this one shouldn't be too hard. And then the last goal that I have for myself, I think, is really just going to be relevant like in this first quarter until the students kind of figure out how library is going to work. But that is to consistently, during each class period, teach or revisit expectations. So things like the rules that I have in the library, how we sit on the carpet, my expectation for them sitting at their table, and the procedures and expectations for checkout. So just to make sure that I'm revisiting and modeling and reminding them what they're actually supposed to be doing like in those areas. I feel like this will be a goal that I will be able to check off again after like the first quarter, when everyone's kind of learned how things work. The librarian that was there previously had some different things that she did with them. So the students that were there last year or the year before kind of have those procedures in mind, and I'm kind of trying to teach them some different ones. So just constantly revisiting and going back over expectations will be the goal, and hopefully that will stick in their heads and we won't have to do that quite so often. So yes, this was just a very, very quick video for me to share my 6 teacher goals for the 2023-24 school year as a school librarian. As I said, we are going to revisit these throughout the school year, maybe make some changes, check some things off. It will be quite the satisfying thing to be able to check something off and put something new in its place, because that will mean that things are moving nice and smooth in the library. But yes, I just wanted to do this video kind of just to have it in like a place that I can revisit and look back on and talk about the growth that myself as a librarian and my students make throughout the year. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.